Hello again. Oof, and welcome to another episode of the Noble Father podcast. I know it's been a while since my last recording, and I said I wouldn't do these monologues, again, and life has come hard and fast for me, and I'm not going to be talking about that today. I want to welcome you back. Truth be told, I didn't enjoy just doing the monologues. I think a weekly release was just getting to the point of being too much for me, even though it was good. It was cathartic for myself. And it was a much needed time away from podcasting. I've been on this journey for a long time. We just passed the 3-year mark, back in March for this podcast, and that's a big deal, major milestone. And so I want to kind of keep it light today, just kind of give you guys a bit of an update on my life, not too much information, of course, and just like to document this, right? I know that these episodes aren't purely for just getting my word out there. I do see these as a time capsule for my kids and for my future generations, that come after me, my kids, what have you. Let me first update you on the new trinkets that I received. If you look at the back, the little background there's a bunch of stuff that are new, might not have seen previously. I'll start with this one right here. So this one I got from this most recent retreat in San Antonio. Jason in Florida pulled me aside on one of the beginning days of our third annual retreat in San Antonio, and he gifted me with this Dijo. And man, when I opened it, I can't express to you the words. These guys have been so supportive of the journey. And I'll just show you it's a knife that was given to me, and it's got an inscription on it, an engraving on it, and it just says, Theo, Noble Father. It's a great gesture. Jason has been a part of this journey for a long time, and very valued. His insight is always so amazing. When he talks about separation and divorce and talking about business as a business coach, just an amazing stand-up guy. This is also from the retreat. I actually had a different one. I had a Mosasaurus, and Jurassic Park is a big deal in my son's life. And whenever I see Jurassic Park, I think of my kids. I think of my son, who used to draw dinosaur pictures all the time. This little trinket I got from a Wendy's little kids meal thing. My daughter gave it to me. If you don't notice it, it's a little bald figure. I forgot the name of this character. If you're a DC guy, you probably know who he is. Bald evil villain. Kind of looks like me. My Father's Day gift. This was literally given to me 2 days ago. It says, "My cool dad, I love you, LE 2025." Just a little cool little keychain. I'd rather not have it break. The wire does look a little flimsy, but these little trinkets are things that I hold dearly in my life. Here's another gift from my friend Jason. He knows how much I like Batman, and so Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. So mini wacky wobblers, bobbleheads, right? So anything Batman, it's a big deal. Shout out to Jason again. Thank you for this, brother. This is a gift card. Oh, not a gift card. Sorry, a card that my daughter gave me. She says, "Daddy, you're the coolest," and a little popsicle in there, and it says, "Happy Father's Day. I love you. Love, Ellie." My kids love making cards for their friends for birthdays and for whatever celebrations, and my daughter especially loves making cards for how she feels. When I'm going out for a meeting late at night and I'm not going to be able to say goodnight to them, she'll make a card saying how much she misses me and leave it on my desk. Leave it on my desk, leave it on my pillow so that I get it whenever I come home. Just amazing, right? The, the joys of being a father. And you're being present in their lives whenever they're, leaving gifts like that for you, just to tell you how much you mean to them. This one's also my Father's Day gift. And so when I came back from San Antonio, we were at the airport, and coming back, they were like, "Oh, we got a stop to make," and I was kind of confused. We had to stop, and they were picking up something from somebody. I was assuming it was from the marketplace, and so playing along, not to spoil the surprise, they picked it up. I didn't see what it was. Got home, and they showed me. First, this is the card that my son made me. It said "Happy Father's Day." Surprise. Third gens are the best. It says, if you don't know what that is, it's a third generation Toyota 4Runner. My son really, really enjoys, drawing for, off-road vehicles. He's been building it on Lego and stuff. And if you look at the back of this, he drew our 4x4 4Runner with our rooftop tent on top of it. And if you notice in this little corner there, a little picture of me holding him while he was taking a dump. This is actually a little funny story about that. My son and I, during the beginning of the year, whenever the 4Runner finally got back on the road after all the maintenance, we caught up on it. We kind of went out up here in our backyard here, and kind of got stuck down this road. And we had to do a U-turn on this road, and it was one of the most precarious U-turns that I've ever had to do. It was a very scary moment because I was scared we wouldn't get out. Like, we prayed, like we were just like crying out to God for help to get out of this situation. One of the biggest things about off-roading is that if you're not well equipped and you don't know what you're doing, you can get stuck, and it could be very disastrous for you. Where we were driving, we drove out like an hour, 2 hours away, and this little side road, I don't think anybody would have taken. They wouldn't have seen us. So if we were to backtrack and walk it out, probably like an hour walk just to get out, and to get help, and that's if there's signal there. So you're gonna at the whim and will of people who are driving by, what have you. As I was doing the U-turn and finally made it, did the U-turn, my son said that he really needed to use the bathroom. I was scared that people would come down the road, but I had to dig a ditch for him, and he had to do his business, and so I had to hold him, and we had this very funny, awkward moment out there. And I tell my wife and my daughter that we took a very, very long and extended trip just to go and take a dump out in the middle of nowhere. And so my son wrote this card, and it says, "To Daddy, you are the best, and you care for me. I love it when you cuddle me. Davian. To Daddy, I love you. I missed you. From Ellie." This is my daughter and my son. They both wrote and drew on this card together for me. And the gift that they ended up giving me was a Toyota 4Runner Hot Wheels premium car toy. And I hold this dearly to my heart. This is I've always wanted one of these. Of course, I tried finding them in the United States, and I couldn't. My kids wanted to play with them, and we took it out on one of our camping trips, and we enjoyed our time with it. This is what I hope my 4Runner will look like one day, God willing. But you might also notice that we have a new logo for Noble Father. This is something that I had commissioned, and it was time. It was time to upgrade the look of it, the merch, as you can see as well. This little dongle thing that I have on my microphone stand, this is courtesy of Kevin DeHaan. If you go to Google, look up DeHaan Designs. He does all things from merch, logo designs. He does video editing. He's just the guy that he helped us do the retreat shirts for our church. He's just a very talented guy when it comes to this sort of stuff. So go to Kevin for anything you need in terms of designs, mock-ups. He is your guy. You tell him Theo sent you, and he'll know exactly where that's coming from. So in my life, I don't want to go too long here. Came back from the retreat, and even during the retreat, there were things that were happening. The situation with former business associates have kind of gotten worse. The work that I'm doing in China as well has also kind of taken a little bit of a summer slump. And also been growing a lot, man. Like you guys know, as I've stepped into kind of a leadership role at the church, in eldership, with it comes kind of more challenges. As you step right with the Lord, the forces of evil don't want you to live that way, and so the attacks have been strong. But God has met me every step along the way with good people in my corner, with good mentors who are caring for me, who speak into my life. The Noble Father group is growing as well. We got new members that are coming in, and also looking to go even deeper now. There's plans right now to add another tier that's going to go even deeper and extend the offerings that we have at Noble Father. And these are all kind of very exciting things ahead for us. We don't know the direction that it's going. We just know the next step. We don't see the whole big picture, but we know that something is happening. As I told you, we've done the 3rd annual retreat. Man, that was an absolutely amazing time together. One in which stepped away so rejuvenated and reassured again of like what we're doing through Noble Father and the retreats and what they mean for all these guys. It was just a phenomenal time. And the most memorable memory that I have of the retreat is really just the times that we spent talking to each other, getting in depth, and just like going into the nitty gritty, talking about separation, talking about relationships, talking about what it means to be a father. Those were my fondest memories. And yesterday, being that it was Father's Day, I learned today that it was a daughter who invented Father's Day. She was listening to a sermon. Her dad had been widowed after they had their 6th child. The mother passed away during delivering this baby. And this daughter felt like, fathers should be commemorated as well. They should be remembered and should be honored as well, just like mothers, because the sermon was talking about Mother's Day. And so 1910 was the first time they celebrated Father's Day. And it wasn't until like 62 years later that Richard Nixon enacted a presidential proclamation that it would be a national holiday on the 3rd Sunday of every year. And so, what a wonderful ideal to hold on to remember that it came about from a small little idea of a daughter wanting to honor her father, who she held in such high regard and high esteem. And this idea has now flourished to be something that people around the world celebrate without fail. And honoring our fathers and our mothers is part of the Bible. It is an inherent commandment that God has given us to honor your father and your mother. And that particular verse is actually quite interesting. Like God really wants us to thrive, right? I'm going to look up that verse because it's just amazing. So Exodus 20:12, it says, "Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you," right? That the Lord your God is giving you. Ephesians 6:2 verse 3 is the same verse but written in a different way. It says, "Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth." Now, why does it have to go and say that? Well, God knows that honoring parents is the best way to have blessing in the land. These are your role models. Ideally, these are your role models. I know that there are mothers and fathers out there that are not good role models and good life representation, but it still doesn't mean that you don't honor them. And as God, loving Heavenly Father wants you to have the best, and wants to bless you. It will come from a place of honoring your mother and father. So to be in the land, and this is something that like should spiral in a good way, and exponentially grow as a result of generations honoring their father and mother, right? So I'm teaching my children to honor their father and their mother, and they in turn will have children one day where they teach their children to honor them as well. And this just keeps spiraling, right? We show them the example of what it means to be a good father and a good mother to our children, and they see, and it spirals, and it keeps going, and it doesn't end. And then you get generations of children who honor their parents, right? In my perspective of being a father, when I think of my children honoring me, that makes me want to be more intentional. It makes me want to be more present. It makes me want to be a better dad for my children, right? Give them something worthy of honor. Give them something worthy of that pursuit, right? It's in the introduction of the podcast, right? Be the father, be the man that your son will be one day, and be the man that your daughter will look to one day. That is the importance. That is the journey. That is what we are called to do as mothers and as fathers. Be that example, right? Set that example. Set the example of what marriage is. Set the example of what fatherhood is. Set the example of what motherhood is. Set the example of what it means to be a kingdom entrepreneur. Set the example of what it means to be in community, right? What does it mean to be in community? Teach them to surround themselves with good people, right? Teach them that the top 5 people that they hang around the most with you're gonna be the average of. Are they good people in your life? Teach them these things. These things like mean the world to them. And if you truly want what's best for your children, you would make sure that they are set on the right path, right? The Bible is very clear about drawing that bow string with the arrow in it, right? This time we get with them, we say 18 summers. You got 18 summers to pull that string back and get them ready, set for life, right? You're preparing the arrow for the journey. You're not preparing the journey for the arrow. And one day you're gonna have to let that thing go. I mean, that day could be tomorrow for me, right? I could, depart from this world, and suddenly that string has to go, and our kids are off for themselves. And so, don't take it for granted, right? You always hear me say on this podcast, and I'm remembering right now as I'm doing these, is that we're not promised tomorrow. So be present, be intentional, and don't forget to stay noble. Thank you for joining me again. I'm going to see how I'm going to release these. I don't know if I'll do them weekly again. That remains to be seen, right? I'm always pursuing, asking God what he wants out of this journey. And so if you haven't heard this podcast in a while, I want you to know that I've dearly missed you. I do appreciate the support. Remember that if you're looking for good community, fathers, come and get on a 30-day trial with us. Come and see what we're all about. We'd love to have you. Maybe it would be you at our next retreat. We have no idea. And so hopefully this finds you well. Happy belated Father's Day to all you guys out there. If you weren't honored or you weren't celebrated yesterday, I'd like to say your job is important. You are valid. You are enough. And you are everything we need for a better tomorrow. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.